My friend, the Philadelphia Eagles just made a move that blends hope, patience, and a solid dose of calculated risk. And Howie Roseman, true to his style, didn't flinch at the challenge. The name that's all over Eagles social media today is a linebacker who fell through the cracks of free agency, not for lack of talent, but because his knee gave out at the worst possible time. 2 years, contract signed, and a story that's still being written.
If you're a real Eagles fan, you already know that Howie Roseman is always making moves the market sleeps on, and Philadelphia cashes in down the road. This is exactly one of those moments, and you're going to want to be around when this story unfolds. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because the Eagles offseason is heating up and the best chapters are still ahead. The 2026 free agency is in full swing, my friend, and the Eagles, reigning champions, are keeping a close eye on every corner of their roster. The team enters this season with Zach Baun as the undisputed leader of the linebacker corps, a guy who signed a $51 million 3-year contract last offseason and delivered another solid season in 2025. But like any team that's thinking about the future, Philadelphia is out here chasing depth, development, and sometimes high-risk bets with high-reward potential. The name that just entered the picture is Chandler Martin, a 23-year-old inside linebacker signed by the Eagles this Monday, March 30th, on a 2-year deal. Before coming to Philadelphia, Martin was with the Baltimore Ravens, and his resume stands out for reasons that go well beyond the box score. NFL reporter Aaron Wilson was the first to break the news on his official X account. Eagles signed linebacker Chandler Martin to a 2-year deal. Shortly after, Ari Meirov of the 33rd team added the context every Eagles fan needs to hear. Martin was with the Ravens in 2025, but suffered a torn ACL in Week 13 of the season, still as a rookie. The verdict: season over before he could show what he was truly capable of. Meirov described him as a developmental project for Philadelphia at 23 years old. That tells you everything about what the Eagles are expecting from him. But who exactly is Chandler Martin? Let's break down this guy's story from top to bottom because it's far more interesting than the contract might suggest on the surface. Martin went undrafted in 2025. He arrived at the Ravens as an undrafted free agent out of the University of Memphis, but the road there went through East Tennessee State, where he spent 3 seasons before transferring and playing his final 2 years in Memphis. At Memphis, Martin was a production machine. 2-time All-AAC selection, 206 tackles, 10 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles in just 26 games. Numbers that make any NFL scout stop and take a long, hard look. So why didn't he get drafted? His physical profile tells the story. 5 feet, 11 inches tall, 229 pounds. For an inside linebacker in the NFL, that's considered undersized. Teams generally want players a few inches taller and at least 20 to 30 pounds heavier at that position. The lack of elite physical traits, as Heavy put it in their coverage, is what kept Martin off draft boards. But as NFL history has shown time and again, the numbers on paper don't always tell the full story. With the Ravens, Martin made the initial roster as an undrafted free agent and accomplished something most guys in his position never do. He survived one of the most competitive roster cuts in the league. He appeared in 3 regular season games in 2025, playing exclusively on special teams, the beating heart of any championship-caliber team. Before getting hurt, Martin had recorded 5 tackles across the 2 games leading up to his injury, small sample but real impact on the field. This was a player doing the right things at the right time. The setback came in Week 13 in a 32-14 loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. Right on the opening kickoff, Martin went down. Head coach Jim Harbaugh confirmed shortly after that the injury was serious. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN reported that Martin would be heading to injured reserve with a significant knee injury. Then came the confirmation: torn ACL, season over. For a rookie trying to carve out a place in the NFL, that kind of news can break anyone's spirit, but Chandler Martin is still 23 years old, and the Eagles see potential where others saw a dead end. The playing profile Martin showed throughout his college career and in his brief moments with the Ravens is exactly what you'd expect from a linebacker Baltimore considered a natural fit for their defensive identity.
And the Ravens' defensive identity, as everyone knows, is synonymous with physicality, aggression, and discipline. Pro Football Network described Martin during the 2025 preseason as an old-school linebacker with standout physicality and a motor that never stops. Eddie.
Reliable tackler who isn't afraid to mix it up with offensive linemen. Sharp instincts, relentless effort. Those are attributes that go beyond size. And the Eagles, with Howie Roseman's philosophy of always building depth and finding value where other teams aren't looking, saw an opportunity here. Now think about this for a second. How many times have you seen the NFL write off a player because of height and weight, only for that same guy to show up on another team and become a headache for everybody? The same Zach Bond, who's now the unquestioned leader of Philadelphia's linebacker corps, wasn't exactly the hottest name on the market when he arrived either. The NFL is full of stories of players the market underestimated who found the right system, the right coaching, the right opportunity, and went on to thrive. Chandler Martin could be the next name on that list, or he might not be. But the Eagles are going to have 2 years to find out, and the cost of this bet is as low as it gets. The central question every Eagles fan has to answer is this: can Chandler Martin fully recover from a torn ACL and show on the field that he deserves a real spot on Philadelphia's roster? Or will this be just another name that passes through the organization without leaving a mark? A torn ACL is a serious injury, but in 2026, with everything modern medicine and rehabilitation science have to offer, players come back stronger than ever. Patrick Mahomes, Davante Adams, Cooper Kupp, all of them went through the process and came back at the highest level. I'm not saying Martin is any of those names, but the precedent is there, and it's encouraging. The timing of this contract makes complete sense within the Eagles' master plan. Zach Bond is the starter at the position and has already proven himself as one of the best linebackers in the NFC East. Depth, however, is always something to keep an eye on. With a 2-year deal for a 23-year-old that likely cost very little in cap space, the financial details of the contract were not disclosed, but given Martin's situation, the numbers are almost certainly modest. The Eagles have all the room they need to be patient. If Martin recovers, has a strong training camp, and earns his spot, Philadelphia might have just found a real bargain. That's how Howie Roseman operates, my friend. While other teams chase the headlines and hand out tens of millions on long-term contracts, the Eagles GM places his chips on undervalued players with high upside and a low price tag. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes you find the next piece of the puzzle. Chandler Martin is exactly that kind of bet. Young, physically limited right now, but with the technical profile and college track record that justify taking the chance. The Eagles have 2 years to see what he can do. And Martin has 2 years to prove that the NFL was wrong for not drafting him, and that the Ravens were wrong for letting him walk after the injury. So let me ask you, do you think this contract makes sense for the Eagles? Can Chandler Martin become a real contributor in Philadelphia after recovering from the ACL, or is this just another depth piece that'll fly under the radar? Drop your opinion in the comments, because this is exactly the kind of debate that drives the Eagles community. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like button, share it with that friend who also bleeds green, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single move this offseason, because there's a lot more coming. Fly, Eagles, fly!